It was a new chapter in history, the first African-American president. He rode into the White House on two words: hope, change.
Change has come to America.
Barack Obama ran a near-flawless campaign until Inauguration Day, when, following the lead of Chief Justice John Roberts, he stumbled over the oath of office.
That I will execute
faithfully the office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States faithfully.
Forcing a redo the next day. It was a minor stumble that did little to stop him from pushing forward on an ambitious yet controversial agenda at a time when the nation faced a crisis of epic proportions. Issue number one during the presidential campaign remained issue number one for this young president. The economy in a free fall, job loss, widespread home foreclosures, and a pinnacle of American manufacturing, the auto industry, all but collapsed. While the administration was focused on the economy, there were also the campaign promises: shutter Guantanamo, deliver on health care. Timelines were established and still haven't been met. And of course, there were Afghanistan and Iraq. He did score some early legislative victories: equal pay for women, children's health insurance, and the lifting of a ban on federal funding for stem cell research. Then there was the $787 billion stimulus bill, the bailouts of the auto and home mortgage industries, and the continued oversight of Wall Street. Coming into office, 3/4 of Americans were on his side. Yet, he had his critics. Who only grew louder as we headed into summer. After being critical of the Bush administration's foreign policy efforts in the campaign trail, President Obama now set forth to rebuild bridges with the international community.
Europeans choose to blame America for much of what's bad. On both sides of the Atlantic, these attitudes have become all too common. They are not wise. They do not represent the truth.
And there was a specific emphasis on one such address in Cairo to the Muslim world.
So long as our relationship is defined by our differences, we will empower those who sow hatred rather than peace, those who promote conflict rather than the cooperation that can help all of our people achieve justice and prosperity. And this cycle of suspicion and discord must end.
While Obama himself made history, he helped write another chapter by nominating the first Hispanic to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. Sonia Sotomayor was a bright spot for the president in the summer of 2009. But Obama would be forced to confront an issue he so deftly handled on the campaign trail: race. Henry Louis Gates, Jr., a black Harvard professor, was arrested in his own home by a white police officer.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly in arresting somebody when there was already proof that they were in their own home.
Obama came under fire for his initial comments on the situation, leading to what is now known as the Bear Summit.
USA! USA!
Meanwhile, as the summer came to a close, anger over Obama's health care proposal finally exploded onto the national scene at congressional town halls and Tea Party rallies. Heading into the fall, the economy remained issue number one. More people lost their jobs, and lawmakers returned to Washington with doubts about passing health care reform. After months of waiting for Congress to produce a bill, Obama came to the negotiating table.
To my Republican friends, I say that rather than making wild claims about a government takeover of health care, we should work together to address any legitimate concerns you may have.
The president had been criticized by some for not inserting enough political capital into the health care debate early on. But when he did try to use his presidential clout to deliver the Olympics to his adopted hometown of Chicago,
to host athletes and visitors from every corner of the globe is a high honor and a great responsibility. And America is ready and eager to assume that sacred trust.
Some felt he suffered a crushing personal defeat.
The city of Chicago, having obtained the least number of votes, will not participate in the next round.
Only to be chosen a week later for the most prestigious award in the world, the Nobel Peace Prize, which he accepted in December.
I think what captivates people most is the giants of peace that it has acknowledged. When Alfred Nobel signed his last will and testament on November 27, 1895, it's not entirely clear that he could have foreseen the impact that his prizes would have.
As if the president didn't have enough on his plate, enter the Salahis, who showed up without a ticket to a White House state dinner. Throughout the year, one of the biggest foreign policy questions for Obama was how he would handle Afghanistan as the U.S. hands back control of Iraq to its leaders. The president gave the nation his answer on Afghanistan, standing before a room full of West Point cadets, some of whom will deploy, not all will return.
As Commander-in-Chief, I have determined that it is in our vital national interest to send an additional 30,000 U.S. troops to Afghanistan.
As the year ended, he headed to Hawaii for some much-needed R&R. It had been a tough first year in office. But as President of the United States, you are the Commander-in-Chief, and no one day is a day off, even Christmas Day, when a terrorist tries to take down a commercial airplane.
A passenger on a Delta Northwest flight is accused of trying to light some kind of explosive device as the plane approached Detroit from Amsterdam.
Mark Preston, CNN, Washington.